How you doing today, YouTube? So this is a post-election review. For anyone, by the way, who missed it, who are looking for my live show, it's supposed to be last night on election night. I canceled it after about 20 minutes, not because I wasn't getting viewers, just because it wasn't working. Google Plus was acting up really bad on me. Wouldn't let me get my best friend Pete in to join, which was supposed to be a big part of the show, because we're going to do like food Q&A and stuff, and he's a real foodie kind of guy. He's a chef and everything, so I'm sorry anyone who was looking forward to that. It didn't happen. Try to do one again sometime soon. I'm sort of thinking maybe Karl Rove had something to do with YouTube not working. Maybe he was, you know, tampering with it or something, but he got his last night, so if anyone was watching Fox News, he really got his. So we're going to be doing a review here today. First I want to do two shoutouts. Like I said in my previous video, you want a shoutout, you got a beer, booze related channel, food related channel too actually, and I will just ask me, PM me, and I will shout you out. So first shoutout, UK beer tuber, Sofa King Drunk, S-O-F-A King Drunk. Amusing name, and he's a pretty good beer reviewer. I've watched a few of his videos, so you know, check him out. I will link these guys down there, by the way. So Sofa King Drunk and Jim Sire, I think I got your name right. It's a hard one to figure out how it's pronounced, but a local boy here in Nova Scotia. He doesn't just do beer reviews. Like he does get like a lot of reviews of harder to get Garrison and Propeller products, like hard to get for guys like me who live in bumfuck nowhere, Nova Scotia. But it's really interesting. Him and his buddies just stand around outside trying out cool beers from Garrison and Propeller and some other places. And he also does a lot of like hiking, camping sort of videos related to that, going around to like different rural areas in the Maritimes, and you know, it's really interesting stuff if you're into that sort of thing. So there you go. Check those guys both out. And now we're going to get right to the review. This is an interesting one. Some of you may have seen a lot of these sort of things on the market lately. Two big new things that I've noticed anyway. Spiced whiskeys and whiskey liqueurs that are honey flavored. Now, some people are probably definitely familiar with the Jack Daniels of honey, and there's also, I believe, a I think there's what was it? Wild Turkey honey. There's one. I haven't seen that one around here, but there is one out there. I think there's a couple others. The one we're going to be doing today, though, is Evan Williams honey. Alright? And it's at 35% alcohol by volume, 70 proof. It's not officially a whiskey, of course. It is a liqueur, is what it's classified as. It's Evan Williams, which are famous for bourbon. It's bourbon infused with honey. So, anyway, 70 proof. Says, sweet and smooth Evan Williams Honey Reserve is perfect on its own, chilled, served over ice, or mixed. And Kentucky liqueur made with extra aged bourbon. It's used with real honey, so extra aged bourbon. Thinking maybe 6 years plus, maybe. I don't know if they would waste anything like really super aged on this, but put that in my pocket. It's kind of windy out today. I don't want to lose that cap on somewhere. So I got my dainty little mini snifter here. As you can see, I've had quite a bit of this. I was talking with Jameson / Tantrum 777 beer reviewer on Skype this past weekend, and I had maybe a bit too much of this. And of course I did the stupid thing and mixed this with some really high alcohol beers as well that night. So he could probably attest to the fact that I was probably drunk out of my fucking mind. I was probably delirious and raving. But that's what I planned on for that night anyway, so. Alright, so the Evan Williams Honey Reserve. And I may get to the Jack Daniels one at some point too. I just don't know. It was actually, I was trying to decide between this one and the Jack Daniel's one to do a review on. Jack Daniel's one was more expensive, so that's why I picked this one. Why waste money when you're... Why waste more money when you're taking a chance in the first place, right? But as you can tell by as much as I've drank, and I've actually do quite like it. So as you can see, it does look like honey, basically. Maybe a little lighter than like real honey, but pretty much dead on. Somewhere between straw and honey. So we'll go right to the taste, or smell, I mean. And it's got legs. Definitely got some nice wet legs on the side there. Very viscous looking. Just looking at it, it looks like it's got weight and heft to it, right? Okay, so really big note in this, of course, and big surprise here, it's the honey, right? It's not overly sweet though, it's not cloying. There's a very nice strong punch of honey there. There's a citric note. I don't know what that comes from. I assume that's probably from the actual bourbon. There's this fruity citric sort of note in between the mash between the honey and the finish on the smell, which is basically your vanilla and your bourbon barrel coming out. And other than that, there's no real big complexity. It's just basically finish start, finish middle end sort of kind of thing. Just a couple notes there. But you don't want big complexity in this anyway, do you? Because you're looking for sort of a simple, sweet liqueur sort of drink, if you're drinking it straight. And if you're mixing it with something, you don't want a bunch of flavors overpowering whatever you're going to mix it with either. So that's perfectly acceptable for the smell then. It's very, very good. So we'll go right to the taste now. Cheers. Yeah, it's quite viscous. Maybe not quite as thick as something as, say, like Kahlua or some of those other coffee-based liqueurs, but you can definitely tell it is a liqueur. Somewhere in between Kahlua and amaretto, probably. And the sweetness is definitely liqueur-like. You definitely get the honey. And again, it's not cloying, it's not overpowering. You definitely can drink this straight, as I was doing this past weekend, so I can confirm that. And I'm doing it here too, so duh. Really in the taste, the honey really dominates. Like a lot of that bourbon character that you're getting in the smell actually goes away quite a bit. Where you could probably just get away calling this honey liqueur and not even mention the bourbon. But there is a little bit there. Like, if you're familiar with whiskeys and bourbons, and you'll be tasting this, you'll actually recognize some of the characteristics coming out in the end. A bit of the woodiness, sort of balancing out with the sweetness. Not quite a even balance, but it's there. And some vanilla as well, but the vanilla sort of gets lost in the honey sweetness, so... But it's good. I don't know what you would mix this with, honestly. I'm not a big consumer of honey, so it's not a thing I eat every day that I would, you know, I know what it would mix with too well. Like, I know honey mixes very well with malted barley for beer, but I don't know what kind of juices or whatever you might want to mix this with. You might just want to go straight with this one. It's perfectly good straight. So that might be the option you're looking for. This was, I think it was $20-something, high 20s in the NSLC, or maybe it was the high 30s. No, I think it was high 20s or something like that, and the Jack Daniel's was 30-something. But yeah, this is actually pretty good if you're looking for a nice sweet liqueur. Doesn't have any, and it doesn't have like a big whiskey burn or anything. Like, there's a little bit of like alcohol heat in the back, like just a teeny bit, but it's just warmth. It's not heat, it's not anything that's touching your gag reflex or anything like that. It's just nice, subtle warmth. I actually could use a little bit more, to be honest. I'd actually like that. That'd be interesting. But it is there, but it's, you know, the alcohol is not really a big issue. So if that's one of the things that's kind of frightening you away, that or whether this is like really cloying or not, you can rest assured, at least from my opinion, it isn't either of those things. It's a pretty easy drinker, actually. Actually, to the point where it's dangerous, because I was quite sick the next day, so I drank way too much of it way too fast. So be aware of that. Be responsible, children. And recommended. Evan Williams, Honey Reserve.